Hello, I am just making a little video recording for people who were absent on Friday for British literature class. We began by just having a group discussion about the first poem that we read, The Rainforest, analyzing the meaning of the poetry, the different stanzas, the big ideas, some of the wordplay. Really, the big idea of it is the speaker seems like some kind of environmentalist who really sees the beauty of nature, which nature is truly beautiful. Describes just the glowing green, the imagery, the color, the sound of the frog, the tree frog singing a song. And the second stanza talks about how we don't really understand those animals unless we kind of take the time to go in and spend time in the forest. It says in the forest the frog and the python are basically one. They're the same. Now frogs and pythons are extremely different, but we discussed basically that the author is saying that nature is kind of just an equalizer, that creatures have way more in common than they have different. They both live there. They both need things in nature to be able to survive. And so the poem does kind of have a circle of life feel. Now, the reason this is all important is you're going to be writing a paper, short paper, just to kind of practice different writing pieces that will be covered next in this little video. For those who were gone, we did some fill in the blank notes, but you're going to have to just kind of explain the use of different literary devices, meaning in this poem. Then in the final stanza, the big idea basically is that human beings come in and we measure, distinguish, and are gone, and the forest burns as a result, which is really fitting. If you look out outside or go outside today on Saturday, you can see just all kinds of smoke and just the damage that gets done because of man. But sometimes those things just happen because of weather too, but natural occurrences. But basically, I think the idea is that the rainforest is this beautiful place that's peaceful and home to the frog and the python, and man comes along and ruins it. And that's really just kind of the idea. We talked about, you guys did that in the worksheet that was turned in yesterday, talked about the alliteration, you talked about the onomatopoeia that's in there. And so we just had a little bit of a discussion there. The next thing that we did is we did some fill in the blank notes. So I'm going to share my screen and show you where you can go and get that. And if you're gone, you're responsible for doing that. And it will be really helpful because you are going to be quizzed on the different meaning of these things. Just give me a minute here. Dang it. Sorry for saying dang it. All right, British literature. This class calendar shows you all the things that were due last week. There was no homework. But there was an in-class thing. You would click this Jane Schaefer AP model, fill in the blank, and you click on that, download it, print it out, or put it on your computer and change the blanks to the actual words, which I'm going to be presenting now. So you might want to pause this video, print out the fill in the blank, open it for you here, so you can see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. You just write your first and last name on the top corner. We had one student who left, I think, after we'd already begun this, one student who was gone the whole time, but this assignment is worth points for sure. So back to the notes. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, and you can see and write things down. Jane Schaefer, AP writing model. Those terms are used interchangeably when you have different teachers who say you need to write a literary analysis paper following the AP writing model. This is kind of what we're asking you to do. It's MLA format. There's different rules. Some of you will remember this from the past. if you had me for honors or Mrs. Frankovic for honors. I don't think I've spent a ton of time talking about these pieces to people who've had me for both freshman and sophomore English. We've just done different types of writing assignments, but we really need to focus in on this to help you guys write to the fullest. All these pieces will be used as you learn to write academically about literature. And we will write about literature a lot. The whole like English course is based around British literature. It's very literature heavy, but we'll definitely have writing assignments that go with it. Okay. We're going to start by writing what's called a three-chunk paragraph, basically. Okay, and so your three-chunk is going to be basically, the topic will be name and describe the effect of 3 different literary devices used in the poem The Rainforest. So your topic sentence is kind of like a thesis or a mini thesis if you're writing a bigger paper. And as I said, we're just starting with a 3-chunk, so it's 1 paragraph. So you get right to the main idea, okay? You get right to the main idea. Your topic sentence is the main idea, and we'll just jump down to that second bullet point. Your topic sentence would be something like, in the poem, The Rainforest by Judith Wright, the literary devices of blank, blank, and blank are present. I would probably add a little more to that and enhance the meaning of the poem. And then you will explain that in your 3 chunks. So what is a chunk, you may be asking? A chunk is a chunk of 3 sentences. It's a concrete detail followed by at least 2 commentary sentences. You will have these in your character paper. I'm sorry, that's for like my freshman last year who wrote about a character in To Kill a Mockingbird. You will have that in your rainforest paper, a chunk for each of the different literary traits or literary devices that are being used, okay? A concrete detail is just something that's concrete. It's indisputable. No one can prove it false. If you say that the first line of The Rainforest includes alliteration when the poet says it glows with green, okay? That's proof. You can prove it by putting in quotation marks and citing it. That's basically what it is, okay? These are going to be quotes that you use, okay? Now, can you paraphrase when you write? Yes, you can, but for the sake of this assignment and learning how to write well about literature, it's really good to be able to use direct quotations, word for word, okay? And a direct quotation, as I said, is a word-for-word copy of what is stated in a text or source. It's always surrounded by quotation marks. If you take someone word for word and don't put quotation marks around it, you're basically plagiarizing. You don't want to do that, okay? Let's say that you have a really long quote and you like what's at the beginning and what's at the end, and there's kind of some stuff in the middle or maybe a couple words like, I wish I could just take those words out. Well, you actually can. You can do that by using what's called an ellipses. It's just ... You take the words out that you don't want and just continue where you want to continue. Okay, that is how it works. Now, let's say you have like a pronoun that says like he, and you want to make that more clear, like he is referring to Beowulf or Atticus or Montag. You can change the quote, but what you have to do is put the word that you're changing in brackets. And that shows that you have taken some liberties with the quote, but you're acknowledging that that's not what it was originally. Or you can add a couple words just to make it flow better with your writing. And you might say, well, why would I want to change it? Why can't I just slap a quote down? Well, the idea is being able to be eloquent and to have flow to the way that you say things and share things and support your ideas and you're writing with other people's ideas. You want to do what's called weaving, not weaving with yarn or underwater basket weaving, but combining your own words with a direct quotation. And that is something that a lot of writers struggle with, but you want to lead into quotations. You don't just slap a quotation down with no context. It needs to be have some meaning. I want to give you an example right here, okay? One of my favorite Bible verses says, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good for those who are called according to his purpose. That's Romans 8:28. Okay, I gave the word for word. I think it's word for word English Standard Version, and I had one of my favorite Bible verses is, okay, or one of my favorite Bible verses says. You just want to lead into what you're doing. That is weaving, okay, and that's very important. Parenthetical citations are super important when you are doing Jane Schaefer AP writing model. Whenever you have a quote, you want to have parentheses that tell you the author, if the author is available, and if it's on a page number with like a book, you would put the page number. But if you're ever quoting poetry, and we are going to read a lot of poetry at the beginning, like pretty much close to the first half of the school year before we get into the prose, okay? You put citations a little bit differently, and you also weave it a little bit differently. There's some actual like punctuating that you have to do, and we'll explain that on Tuesday during our next class. But with poems, instead of putting the page number that the whole poem is on, you cite the author name and the line numbers. So if you're citing lines 5, 6, and 7 from the rainforest, at the end of the quotation in parentheses, you would have right 5 through 7. That is parenthetical citations is very important, okay? And then finally, what you're going to do for each chunk, okay, remember you're having 3 chunks. You are going to have commentary sentences. Commentary is where you show your critical thinking and your explanation and your connections and just your ability to analyze and think critically about what you're reading. What I always recommend, since you have to have at least 2 commentary sentences, is have a sentence that just kind of explains what you quoted in your own words, or if the quotation is really easy to understand, just provide a little context of what is going on when that quotation gets said, or just explain it, putting it into your own words. When you write about Shakespeare or challenging literature, which you'll read a lot of in British literature, it's really a good way to do your first commentary, is just kind of explain what the quote means. Okay, and then the second one, like, so what? What does the quotation prove? Okay, connection and analysis. Okay, this shows that you know, whatever is important, it needs to basically connect to what your thesis is. And we'll put this all together when we write our rainforest 3 chunk. But you're basically doing that concrete detail. Weaving concrete detail, your words and words from the text with a citation, followed by 2 commentary sentences. You're going to do that 3 times. Okay, so you'll have 3 concrete details. Okay, each concrete detail is going to be showing a particular literary device being used, like alliteration or repetition, theme, just juxtaposition. You may not know what that means, but we're going to work on that on Tuesday, identifying what literary devices you want to write about. Okay. Finally, once you have your 3 chunks, just remember that you're going to be doing the 3 chunks. It's not just one chunk and then a concluding sentence, but 3 chunks you conclude. And this is just where you basically restate what was said in the topic sentence using slightly different words. Literary device 1, literary device 2, and literary device 3 are clearly used to enhance the poem. Okay. What this basically is you're writing like a mini 5-paragraph essay. Your topic sentence is your intro paragraph. Your 3 chunks are the supporting ideas. And your concluding sentence is like your conclusion paragraph. So those are the pieces that are good to know. There will probably be some kind of quiz on this within the next week or week and a half. So just make sure that you fill all those in on and turn those into me if you were gone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.